Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Ben Brewster at Triathletics. This is the Incline bench pigeon stretch. So this is one that we kind of stumbled upon through playing around with a bunch of different hip external rotation mobility drills and exercises. And we realized, hey, most people that are limited in external rotation aren't going to be able to do a very good pigeon stretch on the floor. They're not going to be able to get into a very good pigeon stretch if they just use a high box or a bench. I know for me, I certainly felt stress in my knee. I felt like I couldn't really get into the stretch comfortably, or had to compensate to do it. So all we did was basically modify the pigeon stretch on an incline bench. So it's going to look something like this. Basically, you want to keep your pelvis square to the bench, your knee at 90 degrees. Again, this is a position that I really struggle to get into if I just use a flat bench. From here, you can hop back and just sink into the stretch. So what I'm thinking about doing is sinking down into the stretch versus folding over or twisting or anything like that. So I'm sinking down into the stretch. You're going to feel that lateral hip really light up from here. From here, there's a couple things we can do once you've gotten in that comfortable position. We can basically drive into the bench with the knee, or we can drive into the bench with the foot. So we're basically going to do activations or pails and rails in this position. So the first thing I want you to do is think about driving the knee into the bench as hard as you can. So I'm externally rotating the hip as hard as I can. I'm trying to take the femur and rotate it into the bench, creating pressure through the knee. So you're going to do a 10-second hold. Build up intensity, 20%, 30%, 40%, 80%, 90%, 100%. 10-second hold. Relax. From there, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to internally rotate. So I'm thinking about driving my leg this direction, and I'm placing that intent through the lateral foot. So I'm trying to drive my foot through the bench now. Now, if you just do that, your knee's going to want to come off. So hold that knee down, and now create pressure down through the foot as you internally rotate, or attempt to internally rotate. Again, build up to 100% intensity over 10 seconds. Relax. That's one cycle. From here, I want you to think about dropping deeper into the stretch. You might get an inch deeper, half inch deeper. You should really feel that tension start to build in the back of the hip. And then you would basically just continue progressing through this. Pails and rails, knee into the bench, ER, foot into the bench, IR. As that starts to get easier over time, again, this is the beauty of this specific drill. All you have to do is adjust the angle of the bench down. Eventually, you would be able to do it on a flat bench. But again, most of you that are watching this video have really poor ER and are really going to struggle to just get in that position from the start. So work your way down over time. Again, this is a little bit too low for me to comfortably get in that position, but you can work your way down into the regular pigeon over time. If you guys are feeling any sort of pinch in the hip, then one thing that you can do is add a band distraction. So sometimes you might be getting kind of a pinch in the front of the hip as that joint kind of closes down, especially if you have really awful adductors or really, really tight. So a band basically pulls the head of the femur back in the socket and clears room as you get deeper into the stretch. So if you're feeling a pinch, you can basically set up a band, step through it, and you're going to have to play around with the exact angle, but you want it to be something not straight lateral, not straight posterior, but somewhere in between. So for me, I have it a hair posterior lateral. I'm just pulling the head of the femur a little bit posterior, a little bit lateral in the socket to clear room. So then I'm just going to get in the stretch, same thing. And what I'm feeling is I'm feeling that head of the femur kind of suctioned deep into the socket in this direction. And so I don't get a pinch normally, but if I did, this would likely help clear that up, or at least reduce the pinch. If it still pinches, let us know. Don't do the exercise, and we'll find a modification for you guys.